Hi everyone. As I promised, we are back with the nodal changes video broken down to each of the rising sign. So I hope you will enjoy it. By the way, I would like to make an announcement that I am doing a Midheaven Masterclass on the 15th of May. It's going to be a good 5-hour video or lecture. I have put together, I think, at least about 80 slides so far. So it's going to be a huge information. I'm going to share all the tricks and tips how to find the best possible vocation for yourself. So for the early birds, it's going to cost, I believe, £39, but I'm going to put the link below, so feel free to sign up for it. Hi, Donnie. Welcome back.
Love to be back. Thanks.
Good to have you back. By the way, I'm also going to put the link in the comment box below, because we made a video already on South Node and North Node changing signs from Capricorn, Cancer to Gemini and Sagittarius. And we described what the possible feeling of that change will be on a worldly scale, on a mundane level. And today we're going to try to go and be a little bit more specific with each of the rising sign. So without any further ado, let's get started. What shall we expect, Donnie?
Well, I think on a personal level, North Node to me is about new choices and growth, ambitions, desires, absorption of new material. And in contrast to that, the South Node, it actually reveals all familiar issues that's in need of digesting, decomposing, harvesting, and perhaps releasing to a certain extent. So when is in this axis, it's almost like when I see North Node in Gemini, right, I see crossroads. I see this like road that's like diverging. It's like you have to choose left or right because it's the sign of duality anyways. So it's calling us to embrace changes as they come, because changes of direction will definitely come during this 18 months. And we will need that inner wisdom, which is like South Node in Sag, to make decisions in the now when we are pulled in different directions. So any preconceived plans, that's a long range, that's like a long range vision, that's very Sagittarius-like, may have to take a back seat as we maneuver around, the turnabouts for this upcoming 18 to 19 months.
Yes, great overview there. So maybe let's dive into each of the rising signs. So what shall Aries expect in the next 18 months?
Well, Aries rising, the North Node will be in the 3rd house and the South Node will be in the 9th house. So for Aries rising, you might be questioning your belief system and spirituality quite a bit. You'll be asked to focus more on your immediate or near environment. Think about where you're heading and not getting lost in the higher visions or philosophical thinking. To stay in the present. And you still can see the bigger picture in a sense, but you have to stay in the moment. So for Aries rising, some of you may actually be wanting to learn some new hands-on skills, share information, or speaking, writing, communicating with people very close to you. It is also a good time to learn anything that's of practicality,
Definitely.
Gemini in your 3rd house can also mean some form of new technology that's coming. So you can be like maybe An example would be to develop a website, or if you're like engaging in like sales and marketing, it can be a very good time for that, you know, and pitch it to the local crowd, the local population. In other instances, Aries rising can be asking more questions than just making assumptions.
Mm.
And gaining interest in what's happening in the here and now, moment by moment, than just assuming their truth as the truth in many ways. And
You see, I do believe that they are going to be thinking about their long-term goals. And the reason being is because the ruler of the North Node, which is going to be Mercury, is placed in their second house in the sign of Taurus, which is going to be about their financials. So, as you said, probably they become more practical, maybe become more hands-on. So they might choose a career which is a lot more hands-on, because it might start paying a lot better as well than all the type of jobs which is about mental activities. So financial is definitely going to be a topic. Now, the reason why we have to look at it, because the ingression chart, obviously in the moment when the nodes are changing sign, Mercury is going to be placed in the second house. Now, Jupiter, which is the ruler of the South Node, and that's something to do with the comfort zone. That's something to do with the release point. It's going to be on the borderline on the 10th and the 11th house, which is pretty much relating to your long-term goals, right? So I think there is going to be a restructuring going on with their jobs, with their belief system, or what type of jobs they should be doing. Maybe maybe I'm a lecturer and I'm going to become a chef because it pays a lot better, and so forth. But there seems to be a change happening around their profession. How do you feel about Taurus?
well, for Taurus, the transiting North Node will be entering your second house with the South Node in the eighth house. For Taurus rising, right, there'll be a shifting focus on value system and also income stream. So since for Taurus rising, Gemini is in your second sign from ascendant, there might be like multiple income streams. You might be developing that, and and also letting your values change with the new information you gather and learn along the way in the moment. For Taurus rising, you might be also asked to be detached from other people's money, and start thinking how and what you can do to improve your own skill set to have a better income. So there'll be also a focus on your personal goals that have value to you. So that might be like prioritizing what goals that you want to go for in that sense. And as you seek that independence and freedom, you might be able to improve your self-worth along the way, via new strategies and also new ideas on how to manage your finances. So in the case, while you're in that process, there might be a need to release the need to have an opinion about other people's business.
Sorry,
And just
I
mind
had
your
to deal
own.
with the wind in the background.
Yeah. And just mind your own business, basically.
Yeah,
And
pretty much Gemini node, right? Mind your own business. So I did.
so and learning to value being curious, mentally agile, and at this point, maybe um, have more wordplay going on, like be more fanciful with your words, because I know, like, as you said, the ingression chart, right? The North Node's ruler won't be in their first house in Taurus. So it'll be just kind of like, yeah, play with your words more. you know, um, well, but then that Mercury is actually in mutual recept to Venus. Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's going to be quite interesting because the ruler of their chart is going to go retrograde as well. Now, Venus relating to the second house could really talk about your talents. And because Venus goes retrograde, it could really, really talk about you discovering or you bring back somehow a talent you used to earn money with. And it's going to be about time to introduce that talent again. And maybe it's going to give you a new opportunity to earn money, that way. So that could be quite exciting for Taurus. But, Taurus is all about the comfort zone. So they definitely need to be dealing with that Sagittarius comfort zone there as well, which is pretty much in their eighth house, right? So it is going to be all about the investment part, things which we got attached to, maybe things which has got sentimental value, right? The second and the eighth house axis pretty much talks about values, what you value on, possessions, obsessions, and so forth. And maybe Taurus is going to be asked to revisit these topics and maybe do a little bit of a spring clean. We don't need to be too clingy to things. Have a look at what serves you, what not serve you, and maybe it's about time to put some bits and pieces in the bin, and then bring back some of your old talents because you might be able to lean on those.
well, I think with like Taurus rising, they'll be like valuing the being of like being light, like valuing lightness, adaptability, and wit as they move forward with this 18, 19 months. I think Taurus will actually feel like they'll be more chatty than usual.
Could be.
Yeah, could be. Okay, so
Let's have a look at
Gemini rising.
Gemini then.
Gemini rising, the nodes will be, in the relationship axis. So the North Node will be transiting your first house, and the South Node will be transiting your seventh house.
Oh, yes.
Ooh, so it'd be yeah. So Gemini rising will be asked to focus on themselves, their own growth and development, and not to get lost in relationships or partnerships that's no longer working for you. So it's a good time where if you think that you've overstayed in some with someone for too long and you want to cut ties, I think the coming 18 to 19 months will be it. And Gemini risings will be asked to also detach from their own beliefs that others have put onto them. And they'll be asked to re-examine actually what they believe in and what is good for their own true path. Yeah.
And
In
Venus,
is
which is gonna go retrograde. I know it's a North Node and South Node video, but I cannot stop thinking about also Venus because it's in the sign of Gemini. It rules the 12th house. So it's somehow spiritually we need to get naked. We need to examine ourselves and we need to turn our weaknesses into something positive. As you mentioned, it's going to be all about rediscovering your personal freedom, probably your talents, your abilities as well, and breaking away from any type of deep belief. For instance, in regards to placing others' needs before your own. So that North Node, South Node nodal changes could really question your personal relationships, not just on a romantic level, though. You know, you might realize that some people are just selfish. Some people are just basically the relationship between you and them is leading to a disharmonious type of energy, and you want to break away from that.
So can I say that, like, because the seventh house is Sagittarius for Gemini rising, that um, you know, because for Gemini rising, they usually partner with people that tell them what to do or how to think. That's like being, so it's asking them to refocus of what they really think and not just kind of like um, take on what's being imposed onto them in
Yeah,
the next 18 to 19 months. And if they need to let go, because Venus is retrograde in their first house and the ruler of that North Node is inside their 12th house to let go and let be.
that's right.
Yeah. And it just comes with experience.
But it's
For this
also
18 months.
exciting because we've got exaltation going on in Gemini. So I believe it is pretty much about rediscovering their own talent and abilities, the natural abilities of how exciting it is to be connecting with others also, and not necessarily feeling restricted by others. So I think it's like Gemini wanting to gain their power back. So it could be also a very exciting period. They could really learn a lot about themselves as well on a deeper level. Well, as deep as deep Gemini can go, but probably yes, they can discover some new talents there.
Well, I think also like it really helps them to explore multiple paths and keep. I think the main thing takeaway here is to in the next 18 to 19 months stay curious.
You see, yes, exactly. I completely agree with you because at the beginning you did mention that you feel like the nodal change is representing a crossroads. Now Gemini has got Venus there, and Venus is the planet of choices. Am I going left or right? So with having Venus in a cardinal, in an angular house, it's going to be extremely important for Gemini. So I recommend, instead of doing the hectic type of decision making, what Gemini tends to do, try to slow down a little bit, have a magnifying glass, right, which is Sagittarius. Examine the situation before you make any decision, and then once you figured out what to do, then move on and then look for new opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's all about honoring your personal need to keep moving, keep things moving, and not get caught up with other people's opinions regarding you.
Don't you think that the other signs are going to get jealous of Geminis, that we talk about them a lot more?
Well, I mean, the notes get their chance every 18 months.
Yes, and obviously it's going to be affecting Gemini and Sagittarius quite a lot. So sorry, everyone, but they needed to receive a little bit of a special attention. But let's move on to Cancer. What do you think Cancer will experience?
Well, Cancer rising, they will have their North Node in Gemini transiting their 12th house, and the South Node will be in the 6th house. So for Cancer rising, you might be asked to pull away from a lifestyle that you've had, old beliefs and habits that you've also had, and question everything while while one might be on a spiritual path. So in the sense that one can be seeking more spiritual knowledge, doing meditation, yoga more, connecting with the divine and with one's own truth and wisdom. So they may find a new spiritual path that's more aligned with them and their life altogether. It's also a good time to rid of any bad habits and beliefs that they've built along the way and develop new ways uh, and healthier habits to go along with it. Yeah.
You know, we're talking about the 12th house, which is the house of secret enemies. For some reason, I kind of just downloaded that message that Cancer in the next 18 months need to be more protective from people who might want to work against them. Or actually, we might need to make some alteration and try to win those people over. But in a way, we're talking about the 6 and the 12 house axis, which is going to be talking about the balance of work and health. This is going to be the main message Cancer need to be able to work with. Cancer rules the past. So I believe it's about releasing some of the past trauma and then embracing their future, embracing their new karmic experiences. And then if they do so, then they can gain, you know, through work with the metaphysics and, you know, anything to do with solitude, as you said, all those type of meditations and so forth. That's going to help them quite a lot. But the state of their health and conditions, you know, in their life needs to be balanced up with the amount of work they do.
One thing came to my mind as well while you're describing secret enemies, because the ruler of that North Node Gemini is in the 11th house. So through going into the spiritual path, you may actually see your wider social circle in a new light.
That's
And
right.
you might be able to see who is actually having your best interest and who are just kind of like waiting for you to trip up.
Exactly. Let's not forget 11th house is your benefactors, someone who wants to show you the right roads. And you
also,
know, some people might want you to make that choice, which is going to be very Venusian again, of going on the wrong roads.
well, and also 11 and 12th house rules like big corporations, right? So if you're working in a big corporation, you will know, like in your existing workplace, if you're working in a big company, who is actually having your best interest besides your friend.
Yes. Cancer, watch out for false promises, such as pay rise, because 11th house is the house of incomes. That's the house of benefits, what companies are giving you. So if you are in front of, let's say, a new job, they're going to promise the stars for you, and then in the end, you might not see anything out of it. So just be very careful about that. Let's
The
move on.
other two,
Yeah.
well, sorry, I just need to add two more things. Because 12th house is also like 12th house Gemini. So whatever information that may not exist before, Cancer rising might need to take the pain to actually gather information where there's none to start with.
You know,
as
it's
well.
a little bit of a challenge for Cancer, surely, because Cancer is emotional sign. But then we've got the North Node, which is suggesting that you need to learn about logic. You need to become a lot more practical, approaching information from the practical and logical side rather than trying to process them on an emotional level. And that's not easy for Cancer. You know, even spotting, let's say, a secret enemy, what we are talking about, is quite hard for them because Cancer gives the benefit of doubt to people, especially if they are relating to those on an emotional level. So yes, this North Node change is not that easy for them, surely. But again, I would say the last 6 months, when it was all about seclusion and it was all about learning about themselves and their skill set and so forth, it really shows who you were in contact with on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, and base your decisions on that. You know,
Yeah.
who wanted to help you and who didn't at all. And I think that might make the picture a little bit clearer for Cancer.
I think also like they'll feel much lighter. Like it's a healing phase when the nodes are in their 12th house. I mean the North Node in this case. You'll feel
Yes,
much
you're
lighter after
learning
this.
about alternative ways of healing yourself. That's right. Because, you know, Cancer tends to build up all those trauma, which is pretty much the sixth house, the crisis situations, right? It's like when the glass is half full type of effect. And then Cancer, it's a cardinal energy. So at one point it blows up. So, you know, finding alternative ways for them to empty out that glass and then starting fresh.
Well, so for Cancer rising, better keep a dream journal then.
Oh yeah, those could be very vivid, surely.
Okay, so Leo rising. So the North Node in Gemini will be transiting their 11th house, and the South Node will be transiting their 5th house. The North Node in the 11th house in transit. Well, for Leo rising, you'll be focusing on your higher goals, friends, and groups, and you will have actually quite a good time, like communicating with them, sharing information in your wider social group, and also find new ways of communication because North Node, right, is something exotic to start with,
Yeah.
and all beliefs that that's been there for a while, you might be able to let go of and step into the world and share your knowledge with others. Um, for Leo rising, actually, you may have an inkling to start an online business that might help others in some way. Um, probably, probably there's a few little things you have to take note of, like not being so self-righteous about your personal artistic vision, which is very Leo.
Yeah,
Can
probably
be.
some outdated attitude there, surely.
Yeah.
Because some fifth house matters.
The trends, societal trends that's of your peers, you might need to listen to with your ears open to actually like identify what is going on. Because like North Node can also means like what is the collective popular trend that's going on in society. And in Gemini is to peers, your peers, what people in your age group are doing. So you just kind of like maybe your online business can be something surrounding that. Yeah.
That's
Or
right.
Leo rising actually, they can be teaching or educating groups of people in
I'm just
ways.
giggling in the meantime because obviously we've got a Leo rising sign, which is all about shining on my own, right? So now we're going to have to learn about group shining. And the 5th and 11th axis talks about children. So obviously the South Node, North Node were touching based on the 6th and the 12th house axis for them. And it could have been quite a boring moment for Leo because shining at home is something which is not really good for Leo. So, but Leo does rule sexual activities. So I'm just wondering how many kids will be born after 5th of May, for Leo rising sign. But anyway, it could really indicate that the creativity, the children and the romance somehow gets an elevated energy, and then joining groups and having a little bit more fun and so forth could be pretty much the subject here as well. Experiencing the group effort in some type of projects also.
Well, the thing is that Leo can be also like very impersonal in a way, right?
Yeah.
In the way they approach. So when the North Node approaches their 11th house in Gemini, they may actually learn how to speak to groups of people as if you're having a personal conversation with each and every one of them. you know, and
I
not like, yeah.
I also believe that Leo having North Node in the 11th house, they're gonna have to think about how to achieve their dreams and wishes and hopes and you know all those huge subjects. Sorry.
How about
Um,
that North Node ruler in their 10th in Taurus?
Exactly. So I feel like Leo is going to be making some career choices as well. So I pretty much agree with the online business. And, you know, as I said, it's not just about shining alone, what Leo is very good at, or that's one of their deep motivation, but maybe allowing a friend to help to achieve those dreams and wishes. Actually, one of my best friends is a double Leo, and I have been pushing her to find a job for herself, which she enjoys the most. But she always chooses these semi leadership positions in catering and so forth, which I do get why anyway, because the ruler of the midheaven is in the second house in Virgo. Virgo is all about serving others, right? Venus could talk about food, so it does make sense. But for a double Leo, I don't think that's a goal, right? So I've been pushing her to do something about it, and then eventually now she figured out, you know what? I want to be a nurse. I said yes, something at least we are moving towards to. So she's thinking about
Double
studying
Leo,
something.
which means that she's working towards being a head nurse of the
Yes, that's
department.
right. Yeah. You know, so by the way, we're talking about very specifics, but she's got an in conjunction going on. So a quincunx going on between the first and the sixth house, between Sun and Mars as well. So the service element of you know the providing a service to others is very very important for her, but because it's a quincunx, we do need to talk about shining for the right reason, because we can be shining by stirring the situations up a little bit with that Mars, for instance in sixth house matters, which is work, or I can choose the other side of it and then I'm fighting for others and then I become a pioneer to a certain extent. Anyway, I'm just so into in conjunctions, quincunx. Recently, I did a lecture on it yesterday. We were talking about it for 4 hours, and then people were so excited about it. Yeah, that's why it became a 4 hour talk instead of three. Um, anyway, let's move on. How do
Yeah,
you feel
Virgo
about
rising.
Virgo? Because that's gonna be you.
Me? Okay.
Well, Virgo
Um,
rising, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, Virgo rising. So, well, North Node in Gemini will be transiting your 10th house, and the South Node in Sag will be transiting your 4th house. So, it's when a North Node transits your 10th house, it's all about focusing on your career, having good communication in that field, um, practical ideas. It may be like an aha moment where great practical ideas can come into you, and be able to improve your career status. Um, that South Node in Sag in the 4th house, some old beliefs regarding the home life, family, that's keeping Virgo rising stuck. Yeah, you may need to excrete that out and digest and excrete that out. Now is a time for Virgo rising to make connections with the world, share information, and work on your professional goals. So since North Node is there, you can utilize technology, um, developing apps, or working with communication devices in that sense. And since the North Node's ruler is in the ninth house for Virgo rising, there's a potential to actually elevate your social status through overseas contacts. In that sense. And
Timing what all matters at the moment. That's gonna be your timing in your career matters, must or will be impeccable. You know, it's all about choosing the right profession for yourself. It's choosing and evolving through the career you choose for yourself. And maybe with that self node working from home, but at the same time probably you're going to have to overcome some of your deeply embedded negative attitudes, maybe about family, maybe about your home environment, and then seeing that potential within yourself that you can actually grow. um yes, you've got an
So
exciting
maybe
time ahead, I'm sure.
So maybe for Virgo rising, like maybe that fourth house where South Node is like transiting, maybe you're brought up in a society whereby, on a family level, you're being only told to just have just one job and just call it a day.
Exactly. Or, I'm just wondering, for instance, in your case, obviously you are going to be going very shortly on Astrolada's website, and Donnie will be available for readings as well through the website. So I'm just wondering whether, your parents would be acceptive towards that, or would they say that this is not a job? This is something also which North Node and South Node could experience in that fourth and 10th axis.
Well, they never regard this as a job.
Oh, here you go. We are spot on. So let's move on to Libra then.
Well, actually, but you know what? But I think for some Virgo risings, they might still be stuck in that fourth house Sag energy. So during the next 18, 19 months, um it may be time to acknowledge the North Node transiting their 10th house, and most Virgo risings will have midheaven also in Gemini as well. They might act, they might um they might actually realize that they need to pick a career that allows variety and stimulation that comes along, and realizing the best career option might be to have several careers or simultaneous part-time careers. It's time for Virgo risings to actually emerge. Hey,
That's right.
like
It just came
midheaven
to my
in.
mind that when Donnie did the exam with Lada and myself, and he checked like 20 timing techniques. He had 20 minutes to present what he had to, but he had at least like 50 pages of notes. And that's so Virgo. And to a certain extent, probably it is going to be talking about being able to balance the professional and the family life as well. So preparing 50 pages of notes and not having enough time for the family, probably it's going to be also crucial for Virgo.
You know what? Something just came to my mind as well, because North Node in Gemini is very pop culture, right?
Yeah.
So doing pop culture astrology might be my way to go. Just a food for thought.
Oh, well, that's what I was referring to about 10 minutes ago. Okay, let's go on to Libra.
So Libra, so North Node will be in Gemini in your ninth house, and South Node will be in Sagittarius in your third house. So for Libra rising, you may be creating a new belief system on what that you've learned so far in life. So those outdated beliefs and beliefs that's like outmoded, you need to detach from them, and you'll be asked to look and see the bigger picture and detach from your comfort zone in many ways. So communication and sharing ideas will be very helpful for Libra rising, and also gathering information and learning new things that's connected to technology, communication, languages, writing, and publishing. Yeah. And
Just going towards spirituality,
yeah.
which is very much ninth house as well. I usually say that ninth house is all about reconnecting with your inner gods. That's the higher mind. That's the greatest growth. Um, the greatest growth, you know, of the development of that that mind, which is kind of invisible for us. So it's like growing that psychic ability within yourself. I think that's going to be very, very important for them.
And also for Libra rising, I think that the way to handle this North and South Node transit is to be more curious about foreign cultures that will actually shift your worldly opinions, which is 9th house. And third house Sag would be to feel comfortable questioning the truth that you've been holding so far in your mind. So
we've got Libra rising, which is a people pleasing sign, and the 9th house is all about standing up for your own opinion. So Libra gonna have to learn about not necessarily pleasing others, but being able to express my opinions and my views on certain things, and maybe even gaining knowledge by joining a higher education system. And then I'm gonna become unquestionable, basically.
so I can actually summarize it like in like a sentence, like for Libra rising, you need to believe in the wisdom of your own thoughts while being curious about the views of others.
Thank you. Let's go into Scorpio then.
For Scorpio rising, the North Node will be transiting your 8th house and South Node will be transiting your 2nd house. So for Scorpio rising, okay, it'll be interesting because you'll be focusing on deeper intimacy. 8th house is also sex, deeper connection with other people, and also joint finances. Everything superficial might actually disappear for Scorpio rising, since Scorpio is not at all like it's not a superficial sign, let's say, and you will want to connect with others on a deeper level, communicate and share ideas. That's with depth. So people that you come across that you can't talk with depth to them on an intimate level, you would just you wouldn't fulfill that North Node's need at all. So you might also improve business deals by networking while you're detaching yourself from old values and beliefs that don't bring you joy.
Yeah.
So for Scorpio's rising as well, right? For Scorpio risings as well, sorry, you may actually start an online business with new partners and make new business deals as well. That's what I have. And what do I have to add? Oh, for Scorpio risings with that South Node there, it's also about keeping your personal morals, but becoming less self-righteous about them, because Scorpio risings have Sag as their 2nd house.
Yeah. That's right. I think you pretty much summarized Scorpio very well. I don't necessarily have too much to add. So we can move on to Sagittarius.
Just one more thing regarding Scorpio. They might be reading more psychology books.
Yeah, I believe it's going to be more about business opportunities for plenty. Though Gemini does rule business, the Scorpio Taurus axis is all about investments, probably a little bit of a different approach to the money. Taurus sticks to what they have got in their bank account, and maybe maybe risking it a little bit, taking it a notch further with their investments, and then if they play their cards out, then actually it might brings a good return for them. So I'm sensing so much business opportunity around Scorpio.
I think enjoy the thrill of it, even if it's fleeting.
Yes,
because for Scorpio risings, they can just hold on to a lot of things.
exactly. And that Taurus energy as well, surely.
Yeah, I know. So
the two most stubborn fixed energies, right?
yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to Saji.
Oof.
A little bit of a 7th house energy back in the picture.
First and serve, yeah. So like for Sagittarius, the North Node in Gemini will transit your 7th house, and the South Node in Sag will transit your 1st house. So it's a relationship axis for Sagittarius rising. So, but this time the focus will be on partnerships and love relationships, and is to develop communication, to share ideas, to improve relationships, while you're actually letting go of old beliefs and habits and patterns that you might be hanging on for too long. So just know that you won't be able to explore and go on an adventure now, but be in the present moment and focus on your love and business partners. Your mind beliefs will be changing to more practical matters, focusing on everyday life and letting go of anything that has no meaning in your life anymore.
I do
Yeah.
believe they're gonna have to go and enjoy like local event and having a little bit more fun and adventure in their relationship. For me, this North Node is pretty much about laying the relationship on completely new foundations, which evolves a lot more fun and adventure in it. I feel like Sagittarius rising sign is going to be gathering a lot more experience within their relationship and probably experiencing things on a sexual level as well, because the rulers are pretty much playing around in the 8th, 9th house energy. So Mercury is around. Oh, sorry, that's gonna be the 6th house energy. But anyway, it's still about how they treat their everyday activities. I feel like a little bit more fun to it. That's going to be very important. The good news is, or well, the good news or the bad news, God knows, Sagittarius, you're going to have to decide that. But the possibility of a long-term relationship or learning about a long-term relationship is going to be necessary. The reason why I said you're gonna have to decide that, because Sagittarius loves freedom. Sagittarius loves not so committed type of relationships also. Of course, it depends on where Jupiter is in your chart, but now it is going to be the 18th month when you're going to have to learn about how to settle down if you haven't done so.
Well, I mean, for Sag rising, right? They are playing the Guru, and the 7th house is in Gemini. So the worldview to them is like, oh, the world has got boundless students for me to teach,
Mm-hmm.
and and Gemini is small talk. Sagittarius is all the high level wisdoms and all that. So maybe after this 18, 19 months, they'll really get to enjoy what small talk is like with other people.
Yeah.
And know that it is small talk that brings two people together and make them feel closer than just kind of like I talk, you listen, which is quite Sag rising. Anyways.
Well, just something to pay attention to. If they have got some legal cases going on, then it might bring some sudden turnarounds. But North Node would suggest gains, but it's still something which have to be let go of, right? Because the South Node is in the 1st house, and maybe it's gonna be your pride.
Yeah, but also with that, I think they'll also lighten up they'll lighten up on the need to see life from a moral standpoint, because Sagittarius is a very moral sign, right?
Yeah.
Moral, centric sign. So, well, I wouldn't say Geminis are amoral, but since the 12th node is there, it's like kind of like, yeah, you can just let that slide for a bit and just kind of go to the other end for a bit. Otherwise, there's no one to talk to.
Great. Let's
Yeah.
see what Capricorn can expect.
For Capricorn rising, North Node will be in your 6th house in Gemini, and South Node will be in Sagittarius in the 12th house. So for Capricorn rising, the focus here will be on reality, daily routines, work, and health. You'll be making new connections, sharing information that will benefit your daily life habits, health routines, and etc. So yeah, you'll be very for Capricorn rising with this North Node transit in your sixth house. You'll be very focused on practical matters, in which Capricorn rising does anyways. So um, you
Capricorn
might
might
be asked
decide to go on a diet, actually.
for Capricorn rise.
Yeah, well, Capricorn rising is all about restriction in food. Sixth house is your lifestyle, your choices you make. They might want to feel stronger about their body. They might go on some type of diet because they want to look better. I've got a Capricorn rising friend. She lost plenty of weight, and now she started studying how to become a professional Zumba um,
Right. Is she
instructor. Another
is she
friend of
using
mine,
technology? Is she
pardon?
using technology because North Node is there? Is she using technology to make sure her Zumba business goes bigger?
Oh, I think she's gonna start teaching online. And another friend of mine, actually, with Capricorn rising, he decided to become a gym instructor. And I was like, what is going on? And then I started thinking about it. Okay, the nodes are going into the 6 and the 12. And this is one of the best ways, actually, to experience the nice side of North Node and the South Node.
You know what? I mean, with Gemini, uh, North Node transiting there, right, in their sixth house, there might be potential to travel around the country as like short distance travel to make short trips to actually teach their skills as well.
Yes, exactly. It would be
Yeah.
lovely to see such thing.
And if they can write a book about it, even better. You know?
Great. Okay, let's move on to Aquarius.
For Aquarius rising, the North Node will be in their fifth house transit, and South Node will be in Sagittarius in their 11th house in transit. So for Aquarius rising is about focusing on your creativity, self-expression, and romantic life. So yeah, there's plenty of communication ideas, idea sharing that will help, Aquarius rising's creativity, and also connecting with others and your children.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so what you might be excreting or letting go of, it might be some old friends that acquaintances or groups or higher goals that no longer have that important symbolic meaning for you. Or maybe you just outgrown your friendship circle, and you just simply don't have the same beliefs and values anymore. Yeah, so there's something regarding that.
Maybe
Uh,
it's just about a growth a growth throughout your creative expression. I feel like fifth house is pretty much about your true potential, your talent, how to have fun, how to enrich your life, basically, how to feel blessed. And maybe with the North Node in the fifth house is uh, um, appreciating every little thing which is happening in our life, and it's like worshiping all those little things which is helping us enjoy this incarnation. And with the South Node in the 11th house is probably it's all about, yes, expanding your social circle, getting to know more and more people. You must have learned about the strength of groups. But now, how are you going to be um, having fun within your immediate environment, and how are you going to translate that what you've learned from groups into your talent, and how are you going to make that talent into money? I think this is what North Node in the fifth house is going to be bringing you the most.
yeah, I mean, like Aquarius risings can be like, it's time to explore your creativity through a variety of media. That's the North Node. But if I were to say as an axis, right, is stepping away from group involvement to become aware of your personal contribution. So
That's
don't get
right.
lost in the mix. Because Aquarius rising can get lost in the mix.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's all about, okay, shining through a group, but also shining on my own as well. Having the nice and healthy balance there.
Yeah, and regarding children, you might be spending more time with them. And
Or maybe a
Gemini,
children or two pops in as well.
yeah, and since Gemini is to ask, so maybe like asking your children more what they think
Mhm.
along the way, and not just kind of assume certain things.
And last but not least,
Yes,
Pisces rising sign, my absolute favorite one, which is me.
yeah. So for Pisces rising, the transit north node will be in your fourth house, and the transit south node will be in your 10th house. Focusing more on your home life for Pisces rising, and creating your ideal home might come into the picture, and connections, which is the north node, will give you that extra zhuzh to create just that, and perhaps to bring some innovation and technology into your home. So the south node in Sag in the 10th for Pisces risings. So detaching from career and beliefs that you had about your public life. So for Pisces rising, some of you may actually contemplate quitting a job and embarking on a completely new career path. Because fourth house is also like the house of endings and beginnings. So, but the main focus here is actually on home communication and creating enjoyable home life. So,
I just found it, I find it fascinating that, well, I've just managed to break a karma in my family, because the last three generations of my family didn't have their own property. And then I recently bought one. I haven't moved in yet, because the contract is ready, it's signed now, but it takes 45 days for me to be able to move in. But anyway, the final contract which I'm going to sign is on the day when North Node moves into the sign of Gemini, which I found very interesting, because I really tried to bring the time forward. I wanted to do it this week, but it was not possible. And then last night I was thinking, okay, so I'm signing the contract on the day when North Node moves into my fourth house. How interesting! How, I have to experience exactly, having my own shell around me.
you know what? With that North Node in Gemini in your fourth house, um, it's a stretch at your age, but maybe you can write your autobiography.
Oh, everyone wants me to write, but I'm not a talented writer. And that's the problem. I think I'm not talented, but I've got Mercury in Capricorn. Maybe I'm creating the belief system for myself. But I don't feel I'm a good writer.
But I know for Pisces rising, it's really about like connecting with your what makes you really happy on the inside. And if that, encompasses staying at home more, then, like this, yeah, I mean, when North Node transits the fourth house, yeah, you'll be, well, I mean, when the lockdown actually is lifted, you'll probably be inviting house guests more to have like, small talk and chit chats.
Oh, of course I will. I can't wait to organize some dinner parties and stuff like that, which I used to do. But I'm a loner anyway. I've got son in the 12th house. I like being at home. So I'm just wondering, North Node entering my fourth house. I'm spending about 85% of my time at home. What is it going to be, 99%? Interesting. We'll see what the future brings, but we definitely be. It's more about again experiencing family moments, experiencing privacy, and balancing that out
And also,
with your
what's
public
interesting
image.
is that North Node Gemini fourth house is very much tied to family constellations and studying that.
Oh, which I do, yes.
You know, it's very fitting for that symbolic significator.
Yesterday I also signed up for hypnosis therapy,
Mhm.
which is again a very much of a fourth house energy, as well as 12, because we're going into your subconscious. Now, fourth house is a moon energy, and moon is the team leader of the night chart. And what do you do at night? You sleep. You reconnecting with the divine. Um, and the moon, in my opinion, is the planet of reflection. What you see in the mirror when you look. So basically, what you see when you look into the mirror. And hypnosis is something like that, which is going to be bringing out some of these subconscious energies. What made you reflect yourself what made you reflect maybe in a negative way, and so forth. So yeah, hypnosis is something I wanna pursue also, and then combining all these with astrology and being able to give a vast possibilities of my clients to heal as well, not just pinpointing them, this is the issue, but let's fix it straight away. If we are here, let's do it. Why not?
But you know what's very interesting for Pisces rising is like, because Sagittarius is in their 10th house where the South Node is going through, it's not so much of displaying the wisdom that you already gained, but to become an apprentice, which is Gemini, and starting that process and probably getting more certifications along the way regarding that. And isn't it wonderful that you're going through that, that student phase, the apprenticeship phase regarding what you're studying?
Oh yeah, I am an eternal student. I can't stop not learning. I have to learn something new all the time, or I feel useless. Anyway, it's this talk show is not about me, it's about you guys. So I hope this helps having a little bit of a peek what's coming for you in the next 18 months. Try to embrace those north node energies more, and try to release a little bit of a south node. Release does not mean that you have to release it to the to the max, because it at the end of the day those 2 points are in opposition with each other, which means that you're gonna have to balance that out.
And
And the healthy balance.
one more thing is that South Node is actually, it actually provides an avenue for you to creatively utilize to gain the North Node's mission.
Yeah.
So it's not just kind of like anything South Node you just excrete,
Oh no,
but it's,
definitely not.
yeah, it's about creatively using it.
Exactly. Use that talent, what you learned previously. Just do those little tweaks, what's necessarily to gain more knowledge.
Mhm.
So thank you, Donny, for shedding some light on this topic. It was a pleasure to have a coffee with you today. You had your tea, I had my coffee.
Yeah, I love my chamomile.
Thank you, everyone. And if you are interested in my Midheaven class, don't forget to sign up today. Uh, Please press like if you like the video, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Have a lovely afternoon, everyone. Stay safe. Bless you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.